the American media would take a great look at the views of the people in Congress and find out, are they pro-America or anti-America?
Because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
More Kessler, huh? I had no idea.
Excuse me? Excuse me?
That's too good.
Nothing wrong.
They're similar.
That's very similar. Well, politically, for sure. There's any question about that. Yeah, they're in lockstep.
Around the world, from India to Carolina, she's a sticky-fingered filcher from Berlin down to Belize. Take you for a ride on a slow boat to China. Tell me where in the world is Lou?
No, he ain't here. We know that. You kidding me? What, 37 degrees and gross and slushy and icy 1 minute and then like a lake the other minute?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no chance he's here.
Well, you want to know the best part? We
that?
have not talked about this. I had Luigi on last Tuesday while you were gone, and I was forecasting. I was looking ahead and said, well, the World Juniors wraps up Monday, January 5th, so I assume you're going to be on that first flight out 6 a.m. Tuesday. And he said, you're close. I don't have any duties at the championship game. I'm leaving Monday. It's amazing.
Is that true? You're unbelievable. That's just...
I tried to get him to drop. I tried to work my magic to make him like drop the puck at the championship game or something, but
didn't go.
No, he said he dropped it at the first game and that was it. But yeah, it was beautiful. It was vintage Luigi. I thought my job's done. We can go home now, as the Joker said.
You're the guy. You're the voice. I mean, you're the poster person for this event. And you're not here for the title game.
I was poster for 10 days. I had a lot of duties. They were very nice.
Okay.
And I had the last day free, so it worked out perfectly.
I've got an off-the-wall question before we get caught up on a lot of stuff. It's good to hear your voice once again. Because we've been talking a lot of Vikings the first hour with Kevin Seifert, and somebody just sent a text. This is Joe from Bemidji. I got an idea, Dan. Trade Kevin O'Connell to a team looking for a head coach for 2 or 3 first-round draft picks. Then you can make Flores our new head coach. We have heard of trades of coaches in the NFL. Refresh my memory. Has there ever been an NHL head coach traded for players or draft choices or other considerations?
You know, I kind of think there was one traded for a player years back, and I can't remember who it was. But
but nothing comes to mind.
You know,
okay.
happening in football, no.
Not any legendary names. Okay.
No. There might have been one in hockey, but I can't recall.
Nothing you recall. All right, let's before we talk wild, let's talk juniors. In fact, I want to read you. Guardsy brought this to my attention, and it is a good maybe conversation starter having to do with Team Canada. And I don't know who Hockey Think Tank is, but seem to have some belief that there's some things going on with Team Canada at World Juniors that were concerning. Let me read you a couple things that's at least theorized here regarding the team's performance after bowing out to Czechia again. Read a lot about roster construction, team toughness, how players were used during the tournament. These things may have been an issue, but the reality is the problem runs way deeper. Here's what he lays out. 1, Canada has way fewer youth boys playing hockey than it did a decade ago. Really, that's the one that he builds on throughout, that community programs have been replaced by for-profit entities, leading to higher costs and more pressure. Development has been replaced by super teams and rogue/outlaw leagues outside of Hockey Canada. Even before kids are 8 years old, Ontario just got rid of residency rules, which will only lead to less accountability and more club hopping. So have you heard about any of these things? And as a guy who's obviously knows both countries and the hockey programs in both countries very well, do you agree? Are you concerned by this being part of what's going on north of the border?
They are concerned about what's going on north of the border. As a matter of fact, Brendan Shanahan, former president of Maple Leafs and Hall of Fame hockey player, one of the all-time greats, and is a wonderful guy. And they let him go year before last in Toronto, and he was hired by, I think it's the Ontario Hockey Association. They come up with ideas, take a look at the whole program overall, because they're very concerned about what's going on with the coaching, about developing these kids. And I think that they're looking for ways of hockey players players.
I'm going to put Louis on hold. We got a little bit of a signal issue, which rarely happens with Luigi. I never really established where he was. I'm assuming he's in Florida, but we'll try to find out. Maybe get to a little bit better signal. Top 5 at 5 coming up, as well as some A-section review that I really didn't intend to do today, but on the basis of a question and answer session involving the governor, I feel compelled to go down that road some more. We may be joined by Andy Luger tomorrow on that topic and a couple of other things as well. That's still in the negotiating works. And I did put in a call to our international terror big knocker, not just terror, but geopolitical big knocker, Michael Hurley. And he's not gotten back to me yet, which means he might be out of the country, but we're hoping to get him on for all the obvious reasons this week as well. Louis is indeed back with us. We caught a lot of where you're going, but then it just kind of faded out a little bit. So just sort of try to pick up where you left off.
I was saying that the Ontario Association is very concerned about the development of players right now, and they hired Brendan Shanahan to take a look at it and come up with some thoughts and ideas, because right now it seems that they're just focusing, the coaches are too much on systems rather than developing hockey players. And, the odd fact that they don't want out there publicized, but the Czech team they had more players. They had 19 players from junior hockey, basically. They had more players from Western Canada than Western Canada had on the Canadian team.
Wow.
So there are some deep concerns that they're looking at and trying to straighten out. And, there's a lot of things that come into play. Yeah, there might be less kids.
Yeah.
Secondly, it's money, but it's also the way they're teaching them. And the U.S. really went way ahead of Canada as far as thought process when they started developing players through the USA program, in the under 17s, under 18s, by having the top ones going to Ann Arbor to develop. And that's why the U.S. shot up so much higher in kids drafting in the first and second rounds than had been there before.
Let's next, I guess, talk about, I was obviously gone for a lot of this, but tell me about what struck you regarding the, disappointing finish for the U.S. team as well.
Well, there were a couple things, but frankly, I didn't expect the U.S. to win. They lost 8 or 9 guys that were really good last year. Mm-hmm. And looking at it in June, I was just hoping that they would get to the play-in, to the quarterfinals, which they did. And I frankly picked, them to go out early. All I said, the game, the quarterfinals, I said, all I want to do is just get to the semifinals, because I think the other teams are deeper. They had come through 2 gold medal winning teams, and you just don't stay on top all the time. And they did play a good enough game to win when they got knocked out, but I couldn't believe they couldn't score a goal. That was probably the best game they played, and they by far the most chances they had in the game, and they just went dry. They couldn't score, and Finnish goaltender was tremendous. I can't tell you how well they played, and so that was the disappointing fact. And because I really wanted to see a Canada USA game in the semifinals, and it would have been just sold out easily, and both teams, would have been competing with that kind of intensity, and would have taken some breaks for Canada to win. But I think here's the irony of it: if Canada would have won that game, they got to play the U.S. That's the way the draw would have gone, and I think U.S. would have, been beaten by Canada, which means Canada would have got to the gold medal round, and they had beaten the Swedes in the exhibition games. They might have got a gold medal, and they ended up with a bronze. That's just the way things fall, in the draw.
Did the best team win?
I thought it did. It was between them and the Czechs. I said earlier to my brother who was down here visiting, I said, Czechs should have won the first game they played. I said, I don't know if Canada could beat them in the other game, and they didn't. And Czechs were really good too. But overall, I'd have to give the edge to Sweden. the way they moved the puck, the things they did. But Czech was really good, really good.
What is there a distinction, a significant distinction when we're talking about players of these ages, this part of the developmental process, in how the Scandinavian countries groom their players, or has it become almost the same, to a certain extent, the same everywhere? Does anything stand out?
Yeah, I think that it's starting to get closer, especially the U.S. is doing more of it. But in the past, you're right, they were far ahead in fundamentals. They would really work on skating and passing and shooting, moving the puck. They definitely were nearly playing as aggressive or very good at contact ball, and they had more room in a bigger rinks. But the time spent on fundamentals with those, especially Sweden, Finland, Russia, those countries were just dynamic at the lower age levels. And other teams now, of us over the years, have taken a page from that and started to do things that should be done with kids and developing them. And that's why it's becoming a lot closer as far as the development styles.
That's, if I recall, it wasn't that a lot of what appealed to Herbie about that style of game, the purity of their game?
Exactly. Playing in so many games against the international competition, and especially against Russia, we used to beat us like a drum, and they'd have puck so much during the game, and you never throw a puck. And if you watch the telecast, every telecast I don't care who's doing it, then you talk to a player, what are you going to do? Got to get it in deep, have the defenseman turn, beat him back down there. The Russians would never do that.
Yeah,
They'd never throw the puck in.
Yep.
They just kept handling it and regrouping. And that really appealed to Herbie, too. Scotty Bowman liked it after. And so that's where, some of them, I think, really had a leg up in some of the other coaches that just like to dump and chase.
You know, it's hard for me to believe, speaking of Herbie, he's been gone now over 22 years. That's just stunning to me when I think about it. More than 20 years. It's crazy.
That is crazy. That is crazy. When you think of, he was probably 66 when he died. And
that's right.
And he'd have been, 88, 89. Like Bob Pulford died the night before last year.
Oh, right.
And they were almost the same age. And how that time's gone by, it's like it was last week. It's nuts to think about.
It is. And I think about, like, even these kinds of conversations, just how much you miss not talking to him, right? I mean, because you guys were similar in some ways, but very different. But just a guy who could talk about any of this stuff, and debate, and fire back, and not take it personally the whole bit. It's what a loss. Every once in a while, you just remember, people who've been gone a while and say, man, that it still feels like there's a void there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because there is.
There is. That's exactly right. 100% true. Let's talk a little bit about, let me finish on the juniors. So what's the overarching message? How do you think it went in general? Somebody had texted earlier that they were frustrated by some of the ticket prices and they wish there could have been some things done there. Talk to me about the juniors' experience here, how it went, how it can get better, how we should look back on it in general.
Well, I can understand when they said ticket prices were high. I never like to see ticket prices too high. And the way it goes, and that was happy to see they come down as we get closer to the tournament, the ticket price that is. And we were very disappointed that more Canadians didn't come because of just a bad taste in their mouth for one reason or the other. And that would have been good because just one night, New Year's night, we had a very good crowd in the Mariucci Arena, and I talked to those guys like my cousin's the sportologist on that team, and they really, really loved the atmosphere in there that night. And I was hoping that the other teams, not so much Canada, but even the others that come from afar, because all those teams are contingent of fans, which I really enjoyed seeing. You go over to Mariucci Arena and to be like pocket fans because they weren't nearly as full. And in the main games, like both the bronze medal game and the gold medal game, you would have liked to see those sold out, and they weren't. And that's the only thing.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that bothered me. The hockey was fantastic. The people loved it. I had a lot of interaction with people from other countries and that. And, funny, my cousin's wife, and they live in Toronto, came down, she's 4 years her age during the tournament. And she said to me, Louis, I can't believe this place is just like Canada. I said, that's what I tell everybody. They don't realize it. She said the people, the way it looks and everything, she said it was like I never left. And that's what I really liked. And I liked the exposure for the state that it got all over the world. The broadcasters talking about it. And Wendy Blackshaw and her crowd, Minnesota Sports and Events, are so good at what they do. The people, the dignitaries that I talked to and came to our functions, they were so impressed by how it was run, what it did, how it made it so enjoyable for the fans, the things that they had a response to the river, et cetera. It was a big hit.
Maybe we'll try to work on Luigi's phone one more time. But as we do, significant breaking National Football League news. A couple of media jackals, a couple of the big shots, a couple of the big knockers are reporting that John Harbaugh is out as the Baltimore Ravens head coach. I think he's been the head coach in Baltimore since 2008. That's pretty significant seniority. John Harbaugh out, very disappointing, soul-crushing finish to that Sunday night game. You could blame it on the kicker. You could blame it on whoever you want. But a couple media outlets saying that John Harbaugh is indeed dismissed, is out as head coach. In Baltimore, which I assume means, given the number of openings, that he goes to, if not the top of the list, close to the top of the list of teams that are looking for coaches. I would be surprised, in fact, if he does not. Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line is open at 64686. Do we give it one more try, do you think? Or, all right, we're going to give one more try with Louis. And if we still have problems, Louis, we'll just bow out and end it a little bit early today.
Yeah.
Brought to you by our good friends at Kemp's, as always. So we got, I think, set the Olympic teams, right? So anything in particular regarding who's in, who's out that struck you as particularly interesting?
I'm just surprised that Robertson didn't get picked for the U.S. and I can understand why. They, in essence, are saying he got enough goal scorers, but he was the leading goal scorer from November on. He had 23, 24 goals, and he's been through a lot of big playoff games with Dallas. So it surprised me that there was one or two guys I'm not going to name that I thought that were picked ahead of him. Mm-hmm. And the same thing with the Canadian team. They support a lot of people, a couple of defensemen they picked. But, that's wwhy we all have different cars and different homes. We got different tastes.
Yeah.
And the same thing happens to picking a team.
What did you? I don't know if you got a chance to watch the Wild last night. Let's get caught up because I haven't talked to you in a while. Current condition of your favorite professional hockey team. What do you think?
Well, they've had a really good trip. It's unfortunate that last night they weren't able to score. They had some good chances, but I figured it would be a tough series in LA. And LA's, a team that they always have tough games with, and I'm still happy if they can beat Seattle. That will be a tremendous trip because then they're so close to already being the playoff position. I just want them to. I'd like to see them get the second to have home ice advantage. Nobody's going to catch Colorado. They just don't lose, but they certainly could catch Dallas. And frankly, I like the way they look against Dallas. Dallas got some excellent players, but so Wild. And I think that this could be the year the Wild are going to beat them.
Really? Oh, okay. Well,
Yep.
we'll certainly look forward to that. Any new trade rumors you've heard? Or
No, and I don't think you'll see any with them. The only way I see them making a deal is going to be around the deadline when they try and get a rental player
Yeah.
where they don't have to pay as much. They'll have cap space, but I can't see anybody just giving them a real good player for no assets. They don't have the kind of assets, I think, that you got to trade to get the kind of player that they're going to need. That's the toughest thing. It's not that they won't pay; they
Right.
pay. If you're going to give Craig Leopold a model, you got to give him the name, whatever it takes. He'll do whatever it takes. He'll let Billy. He'll give him a free hand, whatever it takes. Craig would want to do, and that's a good part about it. That's a great part about it, having him as the owner.
let's finish with
But I just don't. I don't know where they're going to get the assets.
finish with a couple of texts. 218 guy writes, shout out to the Herbie Brooks Foundation. They just donated $5,000 to my local rink where my son played his mite hockey. The Woodland Whalers of Duluth are thankful. That's a good reason to bring up Herbie's name and memory, the ongoing legacy of the Herbie Brooks Foundation. And Tony is checking in from Grand Rapids, wants to know what you think of the Olympic Games in terms of odds-on favorites. The Finland team, he writes, looks pretty stacked to him. What do you think?
I think they are good, but I think Canada's got to be the odds-on favorite. I don't see anybody having the kind of team Canada has except us. I think we're the ones that can beat them, and other than that, I think it's Canada and the U.S. the two best teams in the tournament.
When are we going to see you again? April? May?
I gotta come back and do my taxes, but March.
It's March at the earliest, I see. Okay.
Yeah,
I understand.
I'm actually going to go and do some games this week. Next week, I mean, I'm going to do the games in Buffalo, Toronto, and Montreal. I'm going to fly back with the team because I go to Fort Myers the next game. It's easier to go back from Minneapolis than it is from Montreal.
763 guy writes, different tastes are not why we have homes different from Louis. Very well played.
Oh, yeah. I have a little bungalow now.
Yeah, that's it. You're changed. Yeah, you're downsizing, right?
Yeah, the bungalow.
A little bungalow. Yeah, a bungalow with probably 8 bedrooms. Always good to catch up, my friend. Happy New Year to you and yours.
Mace is heading your way tomorrow, Louis. Be careful.
Is that true?
We're going to talk with Mace from Florida tomorrow as well.
He's finally making the trip.
Oh, my God.
It's coming out tomorrow morning,
Driving
so be careful.
or flying?
I think he's flying.
He likes to drive.
Yeah, he does, but I think he's flying is what he
in
told
this
me.
case. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, beware.
That means I got to get my wallet. I got to get my wallet ready. I got to buy dinner again. He has a tough time opening it. I don't think he knows how to open a wallet.
No, sadly, there's some truth to that.
I'm going to buy him. I'm going to buy him one without those zippers he's got on.
There you go. That's it. Something that he can't. Yeah, that it doesn't have to worry about opening it. It's just there's no zipper to close it up. We'll talk.
And you better take care of your cold.
Yeah, I'm getting there. It's slow but sure. Thanks, Luigi.
Okay, nice
Take care.
to talk to you.
Always
See you
a
later.
pleasure. Lou Nanne, kind enough to join us via the Connecticut Water Systems Hotline. His appearance, as always, we really appreciate the fine work from Kemp's on keeping Luigi in your homes through this radio program year after year after year. Guardsy does remind me, Mason, your face tomorrow, but he will be in Florida by then, finally. Unlike Luigi, he's kind of still dedicated
He loves it here.
to the state of Minnesota.
He is, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So that's interesting. Let's pause here. We got a lot to get caught up on. Top 5 at 5 yet to come. We've got some A section stuff to discuss and who knows what else. Don't go away. Back in a minute here on The Fan. A text that came in much earlier in the program. I probably should have highlighted it or favorited it, but it's going to be a little difficult to go back now. From someone who was listening to our conversation with Kevin Seifert. The first segment with Seifert was largely about the what I like to call Wagnerian opera at the quarterback position for the Vikings, this passion play that continues to play out in front of our eyes and not really go the way it was supposed to go. And he was exasperated. He said, do you understand that the season is over? Are you going to keep talking about the Vikings quarterback position? And I didn't have a chance to say what I would say to him, which is the answer is yes.
Only for the next 9 months.
And I'll illustrate exactly why. A couple minutes ago, in the wake of the news that John Harbaugh apparently has been dismissed by the Baltimore Ravens, or he will not be coming back. I don't know what his contract situation was. I assume he was still under contract. The first text we got, 612 guy, does this leave the door open for Lamar Jackson to come to Minnesota? Now, that doesn't mean that's a possibility, but it means that's how folks are wired in this town. Make no mistake about it. Whether the Vikings win or lose, they are the top dog in the Twin Cities. I'm not saying anything all that, I think, revelatory or controversial. It's just, that's the nature of it. And if that's not something that interests you, that's fine. You might be ready to move on, but my God, the season just ended Sunday. The playoffs are just about to begin. So generally there's a post-mortem period where you go, okay, what went right? What went wrong? Where do we go from here? Etc. And yet I think, again, that quote illustrated just how deep into the mindset of your average Minnesota sports rube the Vikings will continue to be, whether the season has been a success, a seasonal boost, or the seasonal boost has been lost. Because for us, it has, obviously, because there will be no postseason as well. I have no idea on Lamar because, my working assumption would be if the Ravens did this, it's more likely their intent is to find somebody else who might be more quarterback friendly with Lamar.
Right.
A quarterback
to be able to win with Lamar,
and to win with him and maybe gets, reach a new agreement with him. I think otherwise if you think somebody's got to go, then maybe you say, well, no, we keep the quarterback or the head coach because we believe in him, and maybe we do try something else at the quarterback position. So anything's possible. The name's going to come up just because of the way it ended there. I don't know how Lamar feels. I don't know how tight Lamar was with John Harbaugh. Maybe he'll say, well, I don't want to mess with anybody else. I want out. Who's to say? It's way too early. I'm assuming in a matter of minutes there will be names circulating to replace John Harbaugh. I don't know who, because he's been there, like I said, since the early 2000s.
Crazy run.
Yeah.
He was the second longest tenured coach. The only one that's been there longer is Tomlin, who played on Sunday night.
There you go, yeah.
Just a hellacious game. I don't know if you caught much of it.
I did.
It was unbelievable.
We talked about it some yesterday while you were in Ann Arbor with the Gopher women's basketball team, and it really, all the cliches do apply that you can't finish a regular season. You can't script it any better than that game played out the way it played out, and that's the best Aaron Rodgers has played all season.
It was vintage. I found myself pulling hard for him.
It was hard not to.
I loved the whole thing.
Well, he's either 250 or 275 yards passing. He was throwing not just short, the dump-off stuff, but
right,
deeper down the field. And it was almost like the Ravens kept going. And he said, all right, well, we'll drive again.
Yep.
And
the headset's going out. He's mad at the coach. It had the whole thing. It was great. Thielen's family's being shown every 5 minutes. I love that.
He had a big catch.
He did. Great throw.
It had to feel, again, painful when you see that Aaron Rodgers, because it's hard. Human nature would be you're going to project, well, what if, Now, there's no guarantee it would have gone the same way. We get it. Our line was terrible, and he might have been killed 5 games into the season. But we saw Sunday night why I would have taken the plunge. I would have taken the polar plunge on A-Rod for one more year. Maybe we get him next year. Does he have to go back to Pittsburgh, even though he loves Tomlin?
Yes.
Speaks very highly of Tomlin.
Everybody does. Everybody likes him.
Very true.
But I brought up that game because Lamar was asked about it immediately after. Lamar is one of the quarterbacks that he doesn't, change or do anything.
No,
he just pulls up to the podium like Josh Allen does that too. And somebody asked him, do you want to work with Harbaugh again? And he basically deflected and said, the game just ended. I'm not talking about that right now. The game just ended. It wasn't an endorsement, but it was, I thought, an interesting answer.
I agree, and I think for better or for worse, it is likely that you're going to go offense this time, right? You're going to if you got an asset like that QB, who can sometimes be his own worst enemy, but is obviously very gifted and talented.
Hell of a 4th down throw he made on what should be game-winning drive.
That's a great point. Then you're going to say we can't get a game manager head coach we got to get a head coach who's got a specialty and maybe a specialty of running an offense. I guess the Vikings could offer KOC. What would we accept? Would we insist upon 2 number ones for him?
Well, I think you also throw in Derrick Henry because KOC's not going to want to use him.
That's a very good point.
He's not going to want him.
No.
So he should be gettable, right?
Yeah, he should be cheap, very cheap to get him.
Yeah,
right.
He could be part of the trade.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Somebody else had a good... I'd ask Louis whether in the NHL any big-name coach had ever been traded, and he couldn't come up with anything. John in St. Paul, and I forgot to run this by Louis, said that the Quebec Nordiques traded, is it Michel? Is it Bergeron or Bergeron? It's spelled Bregeron.
I read it Bergeron, when I looked it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
To the Rangers for cash and a draft pick. How far back does that go?
That was, according to the quick AI synopsis, which is 50-50 at best, that was allegedly 1987.
Okay.
So almost 40 years ago.
I should have mentioned it to him. I'm sure he would have remembered the name. And
he was probably in on the deal somehow and just forgot.
Yeah, that's also probably true. So we now have, is it 7 openings now with the Harbaugh news?
I have to count them up, yeah.
There was 6 going into today, I think.
Then that would be 7.
And I don't think anybody's been hired yet, right?
No.
Allegedly, your guy, the former Browns head coach, Stefanski is now at the top of the Giants list. Now, will that change? I mean, I have to believe John Harbaugh will be a popular choice somewhere, correct?
If he wants to keep coaching.
He wants to keep coaching. Yeah, that's true. Maybe he wants to take a year off. I don't know, how many years they owe him or any of that sort of thing.
Cardinals, Raiders, Browns, Falcons, Titans, Giants, and now Ravens.
Does the long-standing hit-and-miss Arizona Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray interest you?
Not really.
In the thread, the needle challenge for adding a veteran to the Vikings who wouldn't necessarily be anointed as the starter, but at least would have starting experience.
Particularly.
I don't think I'd touch him.
And I don't
even know what his money situation would be. I assume that would be worked out where maybe Arizona pays for a decent amount of that. I just don't think I'd want to get near him.
No, and I don't. If he has to play, how's KOC going to make him play?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it has to be a good fit, whatever we think of it. We know how KOC likes to roll. He was trying to make Josh Dobbs a pocket passer 2 years ago. Like, he's got... Now, maybe this year with McCarthy, with 9, has humbled him a little bit. And not humbled him, that's not the right word, but had him rethink some things that I can't just plug my system, these guys into my system and develop them all the same way. And I'm sure it's more complicated than what I'm making it out to be, but it always seems like we're trying to get to, the 300 level courses before you've figured out college rhetoric.
Yeah.
And so I don't think those two would be a good match. Maybe I'd be wrong, but I just don't think it would be.
If the Baltimore kicker makes that field goal, does Tomlin get fired, and does Aaron Rodgers not even think about coming back, and he's done? Yeah, I mean,
it's a great what if.
Who's to say? I mean, it was that close. I was convinced that, you could see it in the look on Rodgers' face. You're going, oh, my God.
After everything I've done
and everything, I'm going to end up getting kicked in the teeth again. And I'm not suggesting anybody should have felt sorry for Aaron Rodgers, but that's certainly the way it looked. But I don't know if I tend to think Tomlin was not in danger either way of being dismissed, but it is an interesting what if for sure. And particularly as it pertains to Rodgers saying, okay, I'm not going to put my body through this again. It's over. What are we doing? We didn't even make the postseason. And now, I think, who do they play? Houston?
Yeah, they host Houston because they won the division. So
do we know who's favored in that game? I'm going to bet the Texans might be.
According
to
to
their defense.
I've got ESPN pulled up right now. They go with DraftKings. So they've got Houston as 3-point favorites right now.
Okay, that makes sense because that's a they are really good defensively.
Yep. That's the Monday night.
If A-Rod can dice them up, then there's no telling where the Steelers are going. And there's no telling what he could have done here.
Also, they're going to get their receiver back, right?
Oh,
Metcalf,
that's right. Metcalf after the 2-game suspension.
Yes, after he hit the fan. Not ideal. He's going to be back.
Dan, Mac Jones, there is your thread. That's Western Wisconsin lab guy. We have talked about him before. I don't know if you could thread the needle with him because I don't know if you can pay him enough. And I don't know if you can. My guess is he's going to have an offer that's more sure thing in terms of playing time than being brought in here as a guy who's competing for the job. I also think there's a chance you turn it into more of a circus with him. I don't know. Would he make sense? Yes. After what we saw from him. I mean, you know, we like to give the quarterback whisperer the credit for rehabilitating all these quarterbacks, but including, you know, Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones for the short time he was here. But maybe it's San Francisco should be getting a decent amount of that credit because Darnold came from there to here, and Shanny knows what he's doing with QBs, and look what Jones has done under the tutelage of the same coaching staff.
Darnold talked a ton about the year behind Brock Purdy and with Shanahan, what that meant for him.
Yeah, I'm reminded Jones, I think, is under contract, so it would have to be a trade in that case. So it's not necessarily the money, or would it be?
Is he Daniel Jones?
No, Mac Jones.
Oh, Mac Jones.
Mac Jones, yeah.
Yeah.
And I, even then, I think ultimately there probably would have to be money involved one way or another. This is happening not for the last, well, you know, there's a scenario that's playing out among Minnesota Vikings fans that we have, I'll just put it this way, we have been here at least once, maybe 2 times before. I'll identify that, explain it, and get back to you in just a minute here on the Fan.
It's the Heat and the Wolves for the second time in 3 games tonight from Target Center. Tip-off is at 7. You can catch every shot, every dunk, every jaw-dropping play all season on the Timberwolves iHeartRadio channel.
Freezing fog, is that your term? Is that a weather terrorism term?
I'm just going to read it. I'd never heard of it.
Freezing fog.
I mentioned it last hour. I'd never heard of it. This is from the National Weather Service. Tonight, areas of fog before 4 a.m., then areas of fog after 5 a.m., areas of freezing fog between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m.
Can't make that up.
How does fog freeze? And
I don't
how
know,
will we
but
know?
where else in America does this happen? What are we doing?
In America? Not very many places.
What are we doing? Oh, my God, what a winter. What a winter. And Louis refuses to participate in it any longer. Mace is finally, he said, taking the trip. He'll join us from Florida tomorrow as well. How many times have we been in exactly this situation regarding the Minnesota Vikings coaching situation? How many times have we said, yeah, I like KOC. I think he's fine for, you know, as far as it goes. But if you're telling me there's a chance that, let's say, Tom Brady, who's certainly got, it appears, the ear of the Raiders owner, says, I'm not taking no for an answer from Brian Flores. I want him to be our next head coach. Well, why don't we make this easy? We promote Brian Flores to head coach here, and we trade KOC. Might be exactly what the elixir the Baltimore Ravens are looking for, a quarterback whisperer to work with Lamar Jackson, and everybody wins. How many times in the last 40 years of Vikings football have we been here where we've wanted to trade or fire the head coach and promote the defensive coordinator?
Let's just go through it. I mean, did we want to fire Denny for Billick or Dungy?
Not at the time.
Yeah.
But afterwards we said that's where we screwed up.
Right.
Denny had, you know, ultimately we got to the Final Four twice and then, you know, got killed one of those 2 games and should have won the other one but didn't. So ultimately we were disappointed by the postseason after he went 0-3 his first 3 seasons in the postseason.
Right.
So we look back, and then we saw what Tony Dungy did later as head coach and said, no controversy,
right?
No difficulties, no challenges. We should have kept Dungy, even if it meant we had to get rid of Denny, and we probably he might still be the head coach.
Yeah, the hindsight ones are easier because
they are easier.
In hindsight, Mike Tomlin was Brad Childress' defensive coordinator.
Yes.
For 1 season.
Correct.
And I always remember, I was working with PA at the time. I remember, I talk about it all the time, the very first defensive coordinator, the introduction to Mike Tomlin. I think he was 34 years old when he got the coordinator job.
You're right.
And I was at the old Winter Park, and I was standing next to Rosie.
You said this before, yes.
And I'm watching him conduct the press conference, and I'm like, oh, my God. Like, this dude has it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, he just has it. And then the defense was good, and I'm thinking, as the year's going on, are we going to lose Mike Tomlin? And everyone's like, no, he's been here 10 minutes. It's not going to happen. I'm like, just saying, if he gets an interview, I don't know what organization is going, we'll pass. And
so you're saying we should never have let him walk out the door, no matter what it took, even then.
But even at the time, like, Chili was so weird.
Yes,
that one was more of a first guess with Tomlin. The Dungy and Billick were more difficult because Denny had some pretty good success, and obviously Childress did too.
And we're here again.
I know.
Like I said, there's people ready, and
I'm not, by the way. But
well, it's a little simplistic in that we don't know how he would be as a head coach. It didn't work the first time in Miami. I absolutely believe. Let me put it this way: who's the offensive coordinator in Kansas City? You remember? Former Bears head coach.
Who is it? Matt Nagy?
Matt Nagy.
Yeah.
I think I saw a headline earlier today that he's going to get another interview to be head coach. And I'm just going to tell you, the world is bleeped up if Matt Nagy gets another chance to be a head coach.
You're right.
And Brian Flores, no matter what he did wrong first time around, does not get another chance to. I don't care how many lawsuits are out there, whatever. That makes absolutely no sense to me. But we don't know how it would go. But it's easy to think that way, especially after this season. We laid out the analytic stats, the deep stats on the Vikings in 3 areas: offense, defense, special teams, and the number that was in the upper to mid 20s in terms of ranking was offense, and the numbers that were both in the top 10. I think, in fact, special teams was 6, and defense was 8. So it's easy to say, well, the offense is a thing not working. So I know he's supposed to be a quarterback whisperer, but it doesn't look very good to me, and they squandered this season, miscalculating what to expect from the kid quarterback. So I don't think this is likely to happen. But it's just fascinating to me here that's been that we've been in this exact same place at least 2 other times, where whether it was after the fact or during, in some cases, it was let's just be ballsy and let's just get rid of the head coach, even if he's not really done enough bad to be fired. All to say, but we want to keep the guy who's got a chance to be a legend. Dungy became a legend, right?
He did.
There's no question.
Legend.
Tomlin became a legend.
Billick won a Super Bowl.
And we had him here. Not anymore.
As coordinators, I know.
Although,
do you feel like other places have had it like us here? Are we unique in that?
I don't know.
It's hard to know,
don't pay enough attention to others. I'm sure there's some other examples of it. Although I still think it's possible that if PJ ends up, for whatever reason, saying it's time to move on, that we could get Dungy to run the Gopher football program. I still don't think that's a pipe dream. I really don't. I think there's always a chance that he might say, I look back on my life. It's been pretty good in a lot of ways. It's been difficult in other ways, but I always wondered what it might have been like for me to run the Golden Gopher football program.
We're only like 6 or 7 years removed from people actually saying that for like every job.
You're right. That's true.
PJ or otherwise. All right, top 5 is coming up. What do you got? We've got to talk about the John Harbaugh news because that's a major seismic domino in the National Football League. The Wild lose and the Wolves back in action tonight. Will Anthony Edwards play or will he not?